Hello.
Hey, we are live. Sorry, a little small delay there.
Yeah, come on, George.
I got distracted by something we're going to be talking about in a moment. But welcome everyone to Live at Epiphan. This is episode 199, and it is the first episode of us trying a slightly new content take. So we're going to be diamond handing, riding this to the moon, a whole new style of Live at Epiphan here. So I hope you enjoy. See some people in chat already, so hello to everyone in chat. Drop us a hello there. Say where you're from if you feel like it. And follow along as we dive into this fantastical journey that is episode 199.
That's right, and we're going to try and move things a little faster for this new format. This first section is called The Lowdown.
The Rundown.
It's not the rundown, it's the lowdown. We agreed upon this, George. Come on. We're going to cover a bunch of news items around video technology and other just kind of random technology that we find interesting. And we're going to go fast through this, and hopefully it's entertaining for the rest of you. So, this week, George, I know you're a huge sports fan. And so the Super Bowl happened, right?
Yes, the one sport I don't care about. Gotcha. Proceed.
So, Super Bowl is always a huge event, and it gets big numbers. So, from a streaming point of view, it was interesting because we had 69% more live streamers than last time. So, meaning mostly the cord cutters won this, right? And the viewership looks good, 96 million people. It sounds like a lot. In fact, it's lower. So not a great year for overall viewership, which I found kind of surprising because everybody's at home doing nothing. Why wouldn't they watch Super Bowl? I don't know. Any ideas, George? Why would we have less people watching the Super Bowl this year?
To be honest, I suspect most people have just, without the possibility of seeing sports live, which is where I enjoy them most, I think a lot of people have just checked out of watching sports. I know way less people that are watching hockey this year than in other years, so I think that's just a trend.
Right. If I can't watch the Super Bowl live, I am not watching it.
Well, it's also, could you have watched it for free? Like, that's the big question. And here in Canada, the answer is no, unless you found some sort of pirated stream.
Yeah, right. I wouldn't know about that.
Well, TV is perceived as free, right? So if you would literally have to sign up for a service to stream it, then it's not.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay, the other thing that happened with the Super Bowl was it kind of broke. For the main platform that was hosting it, it was like CBS Online. I forget what they call their online version of their programming. Anyway, it totally went down and went flat. And I found this great quote from Adage, this media company that wrote an article about it, which is kind of like The Onion quote. You know The Onion there, George? The internet still needs work. And we find this out every time there's a massive streaming event and half of it goes down. We're like, we're still in the dark ages of the internet. So
Yeah. But
okay.
Also, people need to realize and anticipate these sorts of things. Like, they should have known ahead of time to make sure that they had enough, infrastructure set up for that.
Yeah, and to get ready to reload your Roku and reload your everything else that happens, which you have to do, every 3 hours when you're doing streaming TV. Okay, next topic, George. You got some stuff lined up here?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people obviously have become well aware of the wonderful world of Reddit memes and how that impacts news and how apparently it can even impact the stock market. But all that to say, what I think it actually realistically boils down to is that as a content creator, if you want to be super relevant, you want to latch on to something and, gain popularity, doing it on current events can make a big difference. So we're up here right now actually on Twitch with The Stock Guy. This is live right now. You can see currently he's at just under 13,000 live viewers. And this guy does, financial information, talks about stocks. But of course, that meant he was covering all of this GameStop stuff coming out in the past couple of weeks. And his viewership absolutely skyrocketed because he was covering relevant content that was in the news, that was a meme, that was all over Reddit. And so you could see, I pulled this from Social Blade a couple days ago, but you could see that his monthly subscribers on YouTube went from not that great right around
What was it
January.
before? I can't quite see it. What's the bottom line? Like, where's he flatlining
Bottom
at?
line is 5,000 subscribers. So I mean,
Holy
he
cow.
was way below 5,000 subs on YouTube, and went to basically 15,000 subs in a day.
Wow. Right place at the right time.
Right, and the video views similarly skyrocketed. His Twitch viewership increased by 3,500%. His subscribers and followers went up by similar numbers. So I mean, all that to say, if you're a content creator out there and you're doing live streaming, and the biggest struggle of live streaming is gaining viewership, if you target the right stuff, it can just absolutely skyrocket, just like that GameStop stock that did.
Totally. Like, if you can just look into the future, all you have to do is look into the future a little bit and see what that massive trend is going to be, and like do content around that.
Exactly, almost like the lowdown. And anyway, so anyway, for all you buying, content creators out there, keep your eye on the prize, because there's things that can make you shoot to the moon too. So
yeah, it's true. Well, it happened for us at Epiphan Video. We had an incredible year last year because we sell video equipment, and like everybody in an industry, including the camera manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So the next story is, George, about a little camera called the Sony ZV, if you like, for American friends, ZV-1. And this is a little vlogging camera, but they recently added live streaming via USB. So we saw this, how Canon did this recently with a lot of the Canon lineup, the newer lineup. They added the ability to just connect it via USB to your computer and directly live stream from it. So my question for you is, George, do you think all of our cameras are going to have this capability in like 3 years, and do you think it's any good?
I suspect it's not any good, based on experience we've seen with the way Canon implemented it. It is generally a cut down, kind of crappier version. So
okay,
maybe Sony's done a better job. I don't know, but I wouldn't hold my breath or put my stock money on it. But I do think this is going to become a more standardized feature. Honestly, it's a feature that should have existed 10 years ago, and the fact that it only became a thing because of the pandemic is kind of mind-boggling. But I think it is going to become a more standard thing, and props to Sony for doing it if it's any good. But look, where does this thing spec-wise line up to something like the A5100 that I use for streaming?
Well, not as good, because you can see it doesn't have interchangeable lenses. Okay. But for convenience sake, it's probably a good camera that way if you want just a point and it qualifies as a point and shoot camera. So this is not a high-end camera by any stretch, but it's certainly convenient. So anyway.
Interesting though. Interesting.
Yep. Okay. What you got, George?
So other fun things that could definitely help with the streaming world. Also a lot in the news this past week has been SpaceX's Starlink internet service. It has over now 10,000 live paying subscribers worldwide, which is a huge jump. They're launching many more satellites on like a weekly basis now, which is only going to increase the coverage and increase the subscriber base. And this is actually really exciting. And, not everyone is going to be excited for this, but for those people, and this is a very big reality here in some parts of Canada, getting broadband internet is near impossible. Not far. Like, you could drive 15 minutes outside of where we are in Ottawa, Canada, and not have broadband access. And I know for some people that sounds insane, but that is the reality. Something like Starlink could absolutely be a major, major game changer for this. So
there's people that not half the people. There's a number of rural residents who work for us here. Yeah. And when we're on Zoom calls with them, it's not so pretty.
It's brutal. And happy to say that some of those people have managed to pre-order Starlink, and hopefully we're going to have a ton more information coming on this. My parents live in the middle of nowhere. They have a satellite internet service now. It's awful. So Starlink is something that could be a total game changer, especially as the pandemic has shown that people are moving out of the cities once they can work from home. And so this could be a real game changer for rural communities and for people who will continue to work from home. If you want to know, like I could do a whole video on Starlink. Like I think it's really cool tech. I love it. But fellow Canadians over at Linus Tech Tips, for those who are not familiar with them, recently put up a video 2 days ago all about Starlink, including them running some gaming on it, which is a very heavy internet load. So it's an important test, even if you wouldn't do it. It's a valid test. But they put together a great unboxing, setup, review guide for it. So I would say go check that out because it's the best kind of shorter video format I've seen for it that covers it really, really well. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton more information coming.
This is amazing. I hope my parents get it as well. Because every time I get on like a call with them, whether it's like a video call or a normal call, we have internet problems. But then they say, it's fine at our end. I'm pretty sure it's your end. I'm on like really high-speed cable internet, and this has been going on for like 20 years. I'm like, I think it might be the fact that you live off the grid, like way deep in the woods. It might have something to do with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're like, I don't know. It sounds good here. It sounds fine.
Yeah,
So
and
I'll get them Starlink.
Yeah, I do have a friend who lives in Toronto, but he has a cottage outside of Toronto, and I have seen some of his speed tests on Starlink. He already has set up, and the speed tests and ping times and everything look really positive. Like, this is really exciting stuff.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Okay, so moving on, we have a story that's pretty fresh. It came out this week. You might have heard about it in your local news, not your local news, but your news feeds is Clubhouse. So, George, you know anything about Clubhouse?
A little bit. I know it became a bit of a meme because the meme king, Elon Musk, kind of brought it to people's attention by joining a Clubhouse chat, but I don't know much more than that.
Well, that's actually how I found out about it as well. So to give you the rundown of what it is, if you don't know, it is from a technology point of view, really it's like a voice-based chat room. So you can join these different rooms and either listen to other people talking about a topic, or it could be a smaller group where you're part of that chat actually going on. Right. So when Elon joined, it was a chat group with a maximum of 5,000 people in it, and they were moderating it. So it was basically him, and he was sort of roasting the CEO of the Robinhood app about what went down. So it was very entertaining, and that's what made the news story. But what I find interesting about this is, well, for one, this app Clubhouse, which is invite only right now, has a valuation of I think 10 billion, of which 6 billion is from it went up 6 billion over the last month or so. So it's become a big deal. But it's about audio streaming. So that makes me wonder, are we going to see more of these audio streaming services, people tapping into that?
I mean, maybe. It seems bizarre to me that, there's been such this big focus and emphasis on video streaming, video chats, and then all of a sudden here comes this little platform out of nowhere, doesn't do video at all. It's audio app on a phone, so honestly, the audio quality is pretty bad. And all of a sudden, it's like the number one thing everyone's talking about.
I know. But it got me thinking about how much I listen to podcasts. So I listen to a ton of podcasts. I'm washing dishes, I'm listening to a podcast. My kids are talking to me, I'm probably listening to a podcast. And the reason is because I can do that while I do other things. So I don't find I have much time to sit and watch video content because it's fully engaging, but you can kind of be existing in the world while listening to audio. So maybe there's an opportunity there. But there's also a bunch of pitfalls too, because it's it's a Chinese company, which means the United States government might have issues with privacy stuff around it, and it could become a really toxic abuse place, like a lot of social media happens.
Right,
so.
But it is interesting. I mean, you're seeing, Spotify ramping up their podcast efforts, both video and audio. This is out there, this event we're talking about. That was a podcast that Elon joined. So it's fascinating. I'd love to see where it goes. I think a $10 billion valuation is probably insane, but I mean, I take it other people don't think that's crazy.
That's right. And I have great news for you, George. It's invite only, but you can go buy for $19.99 an invite from eBay. So that's the market right now as of today. So I'm guessing these prices are going to go down when people realize they, don't really want to pay for invites.
That's how you know things are a meme, when you can buy it on eBay when it's not even a tangible item.
That's right, and probably not even real whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's just thanks for your $20.
$20.
See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What's next? Is this me for the next one? I think so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now we want to talk about a couple of companies who've been buying each other. So in this case, do you know the company Live Nation?
I do. Funny enough, just last night I was chatting with my better half, and we were discussing, what was the last concert we went to see together live in person. It was April 2019, and that made me very sad. It was Aerosmith though, so that was okay.
So that made you very happy. Okay, it was a happy and sad memory. All right.
But I buy a lot of tickets through Live Nation, Ticketmaster, places like that.
Okay.
So.
Well, would you buy tickets from them to see a virtual event? Because now you'll have more of an opportunity to do that.
I have not done that yet. I almost did, but it would depend on the cost and obviously the style of the stream, and also obviously who it is.
Mm-hmm. So Live Nation, biggest company who does concerts, they've bought this company called Veeps, which is a platform that allows live streaming of concerts. But more importantly, they do all the administration and ticketing and stuff like that. So I'm sure Live Nation could have just built them themselves, but they took a shortcut and just bought this other company that does that part.
Makes sense.
We're going to see more of these virtual ticketing companies coming out and virtual concerts and stuff like that. And maybe, like we've been talking a lot about, not just virtual events, like hybrid events where some people are in the building watching it and some people are remote. I'm kind of like you. I'm not a huge... I haven't bought any tickets to watch something on my TV or my computer because generally I don't want to watch anything on my TV or computer if I don't have to.
I mean, I've watched free stuff that ends up, maybe after the fact posted to YouTube or whatever.
That's what I was thinking about.
I've done that, and I don't mind the experience, and I for the right price and for the right performer, I would maybe pay for it, but it depends on the experience, right? Right now, it's just been so clunky and convoluted. It's just been annoying, so I just haven't done it. But
if it just feels like a VOD, like how are they going to make it feel different from the YouTube VOD?
Right.
Like it'd have to feel somewhat live, like with chat and all these other interactive things.
But then
maybe they respond to, of course. Maybe they can respond to people like you can ask questions of them or something, or you can interact with them and they shout out to people or something.
I mean, while I was eating lunch or preparing my lunch today, I turned on the stream coming from the U.S. Capitol. We don't need to go into why that stream exists, but I mean, just looking at the chat on Facebook from like NBC News was so insanely toxic that it's just like you just don't want any part of that kind of thing, because people are going to people, I guess.
Yeah, well, you could do the ostrich approach like I do and just stick your head in the sand.
But it's interesting, and again, I think, if they can come up with the right platforms to deliver this in an effective way, cool.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how this goes.
Yeah.
Another story of a sort of a customer-facing company buying a technology company is this company called Hopin. So if you haven't heard of Hopin, you can see it right here. They do virtual events. So imagine going to a conference. Well, they do it really well online where they have all these little breakout rooms and you can pair up with people and you can chat and you can engage with it. Very slick. But what they don't have is any of the technology part. Right. Sorry, not the technology part. They don't have the sort of video technology part of it that much. So they bought StreamYard, who is a company that plays a little bit more in our space, where they allow you to do live streaming and add graphics and then restream it out. And they've been quite successful to this point, so much that Hopin has bought them. So another amalgamation of two, companies that can work together and make something much bigger. So we're probably going to see a lot of this in our space, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
video companies pairing up with like webinar companies and stuff.
Yeah, StreamYard's been, kind of out there for quite a while, and I actually know people who use it for their content creation, and they're very happy with it. But there's a bunch of ones that are kind of competitive in that space. Even Restream.io has launched a platform that kind of does something similar. You can kind of do that on Facebook. You can kind of do that on a bunch of these, and from my opinion, looking at them, StreamYard was actually one of the best ones that does that type of stuff. So obviously Hopin agrees and decided to buy them instead of one of the other dozen that is out there. So it's interesting. Yeah, well, maybe that grows their base more. Maybe it shifts it to a more professional tier or both. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got some time. You got any more stories up your sleeve, George?
I do have a little bit. First, I wanted to bring up all-around Canadian hero Ryan Reynolds. No, I just thought it was interesting that this kind of plays into some of my earlier stuff with the stock guy, but basically talking about viral marketing, right? Like, obviously, viral marketing has been something that's talked about forever. But I really feel like through the past year, it's almost become more important because people are spending so much more time at home. They're spending so much more time on the internet. And so viral marketing has become like a big deal. And I would say one of the kings of viral marketing is Ryan Reynolds. And he's done a few things recently that has led to something else that I found very curious. I'm sure a lot of people have seen his advertisements on YouTube because they don't feel like advertisements for Aviation Gin or for Mint Mobile. These are companies that he has ownership stakes in, and he's become like creative director for them to create this stuff. He then joined up with David Beckham and Diddy to do a video where all three of them were making custom cocktails and raising money for charity. And of course, making the custom cocktails meant all three men were just using the alcohol that they own stakes in and just mixing them together, which was a terrible idea.
That's horrible.
Yeah, but you can go check this out. It's kind of interesting because that means you're mixing gin, tequila, and scotch, and this is just a bad idea. Don't do that. But again, this is something that Ryan Reynolds just posts on YouTube and was raising money for charity. He's raised a ton of money through his whole feud with Hugh Jackman over the years, which people laugh at, and it's obviously totally fake, but people love it. And it goes viral every single time. So being creative and doing these things is great, but all of that seemed to lead to him signing this deal with Snapchat, where they've basically commissioned a Snapchat-based web series starring Ryan Reynolds, where he just tries different stuff that he doesn't know how to do. And so this was the trailer for it here. And it's called Ryan Doesn't Know, but it's entertaining. It's funny. It's bizarre. And it's kind of an interesting thing with like Snapchat. Like isn't that the app that the kids use with the filters and the stuff? Like now they're trying to make a web TV series. Like it's kind of an interesting thing. And yes, they filmed it all portrait instead of landscape, which is bizarre. So it's because it fits their app. So it's an interesting thing. But again, fascinating times, the internet.
It is. It's like, well, Instagram did this, what was it, 2 or 3 years ago when they did IGTV, and everyone's like,
which is now dead.
This?
And IGTV is now basically dead. No one uses it. No one touches it.
And Twitter has dipped their toe into this market a few times, trying to start web series and stuff, and usually it kind of falls flat.
Yeah.
But I guess they got to try, right?
Right. And the interesting thing is, of course, Snap is also posting all of this to their own YouTube channel, so you can get it in the app or on YouTube. So, looking at it, one from a week ago, I think it was the second episode, Ryan Reynolds did axe throwing, which as someone who's actually pretty decent at axe throwing, I was really disappointed at how bad it was. But I mean, it has like 500,000 views. Why not? So it's getting decent traction for a first try. But I just find that interesting. Like the whole viral marketing thing and leveraging these platforms and getting the message out there, whatever your message is it's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is, and we're going to see a lot more of it too. So
yeah,
we'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Okay. I hope my video quality is okay. I noticed I looked a little jaggedy there for a minute, but
yeah, you need to get some Starlink.
I got to get some Starlink. Yeah. Yeah, I really want to triple my internet costs. Okay. So now we have another little segment which we call what's the name of this next segment, George? Do you remember?
I
you blew the first one.
We're calling Love It or Hate. No, Love It or Loathe It.
Love it or loathe it. That's right. We don't have a jingle yet, but the jingle's going to come, and some videos are going to come, and we're going to make this all pretty sexy soon. But to start, this is a segment where I'm going to surprise George here. He doesn't know what I'm going to talk about next.
Genuinely, I have no idea.
He ignores me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But in this case, he was really actively ignoring. And so I'm going to pitch George on an idea and see if he likes it or if he hates it. Okay?
I hate a lot of things. We'll see.
Exactly. So this is going to be great. And this one is so right up your hatred alley. So,
Oh, boy. Something to do with Apple. I can smell it already.
you got it. So there's been a lot of talk this week about Apple cars. Okay? Apple has been reportedly meeting with Kia and Kia Hyundai, and talking about manufacturing cars, and they're hiring all these Tesla engineers. And so there's a big talk about is Apple going to make a car and is going to come out in 2 years or 3 years. That seems to be the conversation right now. It's more about when, not if. So my question for you is, first off, do you like it when these tech companies jump into the car making space? Because you're a pretty car guy too. Not everybody knows this, but you're a car nut.
Yeah. You know what? It's I don't think it's a bad thing, because let's be honest, the traditional car manufacturers, the traditional car market is terrible. The traditional method of buying a car is terrible. Everything about it is bad and outdated. So it needs updated. And companies have tried. Toyota tried through their Scion brand to kind of modernize that experience, and it was semi-successful. Then they killed it. Tesla is actually pretty successful in some of that, but obviously Tesla has its own drawbacks. A lot of people don't like the quality of the product. Some people just think it's a giant meme and is not a real company. There's a lot of different things there. Apple, a lot of my issues that I have with Apple as a company is not about the hardware they build, but it's the software and mentality that they sell it from, right? They operate.
You mean the closed ecosystem?
It's a walled garden. Don't mess with it. You don't get your
You're
own...
welcome anytime, George. It's so nice over here.
No, it's
really.
not.
Look around.
I hate it.
It's pink light just glowing.
I worry that, and also obviously Apple always prices everything at an extreme premium. So an Apple car to me would be more expensive than a Tesla, probably better build quality, but you wouldn't actually be able to do anything with it besides what they gave you from out of the box. And that would never be my thing.
They wouldn't have that. They wouldn't support your Android phone. I'm sorry, George.
No, they definitely would. They would never have Android Auto built into it. That is for sure. But neither does Tesla, to be fair. But I happen to know, because I have been watching this exact thing, that Hyundai has come out and said, no, in fact, we are not teaming up with Apple.
That was one of my other questions was, and that I got thinking about, if I was a car company, do I want to play in the sandbox with Apple, who might ultimately eat my lunch?
Well,
once they use me for my dealer network and my supply chain and stuff like that.
Well, definitely not if you're Hyundai Kia, right? Because Hyundai Kia consists of 3 brands currently. Hyundai, Kia, Genesis. Genesis being their luxury brand, Hyundai in the middle, Kia at the bottom. You could not have a Hyundai Kia Apple car. That wouldn't make any sense, because Hyundai Kia is not a premium brand by any stretch.
No. They don't. There's no marriage there at all.
It doesn't make any sense to do that, other than no one else wants to work with Apple, so they tried it, and negotiations didn't go well from the reports I've seen. So could I see, for those who might know, Volvo spun off Polestar, which used to be their performance division. They spun off Polestar into a company that makes EVs. Could I see Apple and Polestar making a car? That would make more sense to me.
Yeah, but that doesn't help them that much, because Polestar is another small... what they need is a dealer network and a parts distribution and stuff.
Right, but it's premium and premium at least, right?
Premium and premium.
The German premium companies like BMW, Audi, and Mercedes, they don't need Apple.
No, they don't.
And don't want Apple. So that's not going to happen.
Okay, we could talk about this all day, and we will after this
could.
show. So this is your chance for your verdict. Do you love it or do you loathe it, George? Apple making cars. And there's no middle either. It has to be one extreme.
One extreme or the other. I currently loathe it.
Yes.
I could be convinced to love it if they find the right partner and deliver the right product that is... But I know that it's Apple. They won't deliver what I want, so I'm always going to loathe it.
Perfect. Okay, so that brings us to our next segment, which is All you, George boy.
Yeah.
In the kitchen.
That is what's in the kitchen. I don't have a backdrop change for this. I wish I did. But what's in the kitchen? What is cooking? Basically, starting off, thank you everyone for joining us for this new format. Really appreciate it. But one of the things that is cooking, one of the things that are happening is our Pearl Nano, which we announced some time ago, and we've been rolling towards release and shipping date, is finally going to ship. We're going to start sending out the first units on February 26th, and we're super excited to see these get in the hands of our customers. There has been a wait list of thousands of people. There's hundreds and hundreds of units already pre-bought, paid for, ready to go, and many, many more waiting in the wings.
But you can still get on the wait list. You can go to our website and sign up there.
You can, exactly. But that first batch is selling out real fast. And we made a lot, and they're selling out real fast. So if that's something you've been waiting with bated breath for, get in on the action pretty soon. And also, we have a webinar coming up next week on the 17th, all about Pearl Nano. We're going to take a much deeper dive, kind of really unpack it and look at it. Here's your sneak peek. I'll hold one in my hands. Boom, there it is. But we're really excited. So if you're really interested in that, I know we have people in the chat who work in the live production space. Pearl Nano could be an amazing tool for you. So check out the webinar next week, and of course the wait list.
Whoops.
Never
get that right.
Check all that out. We are definitely really excited for all of that to happen. And what else do we have going on? I'm trying to think of what else. I guess next episode, which won't be next week because we don't do these weekly anymore. They're now every other week. So next episode is episode 200. 200. Episode 200 of Live at Epiphan is coming up on February 25th. And we've got some special stuff planned for that. I don't even know what it is yet. That's how special. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, as always, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, and do all the socially things in all the socially places. And keep tuned into what we're doing. If you hated this episode, make sure you give it a giant dislike. But if you loved it, give it a thumbs up. And if you really loathed it, send us an email to info@epiphan.com because we'd love to hear from you. Or you can say it in chat right now. I did want to address a question, though, because we had a couple things in chat. One of them was from our good friend Tim Trott. And he just asked, will you be at the rescheduled InfoComm in Orlando in October? Sorry, Tim. Unfortunately, that is extremely unlikely. Pretty much a no. As most of our team that travels to those shows are based in Canada, traveling is just not a thing. We're under a no travel condition for the company, but certainly the requirements and mandates around traveling internationally for us Canadians, it's not even worth attempting. Sorry. So something would have to dramatically change between now and October.
So Tim Trott's going to drive here and pick us up and take us to the show.
Well, he'll have a hard time getting across the border since the border is still closed, and I think will continue to be closed for the foreseeable future.
Got to deliver something, right?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. You have to pretend you're a delivery truck, Tim, and you can come get us. I mean, not to get too into things, but Canada's vaccination rates is so pitiful that I don't think there's going to be anything like that happening anytime soon for us. So, sorry. But that pretty much does it. Sort of ended.
Was that the saddest end note I've ever heard,
yeah,
George?
It was.
Good grief.
It was so sad.
We're going to trim the VOD. That's going to end 6 minutes ago, just so you know.
We're gonna end on the loathing it part. Okay, I'll end on an upside. How about that? We released a new video. We put out a new video about SRT. And honestly, between Pearl Nano and SRT, I have been having some incredible conversations in the past couple of weeks with prospective and existing customers about that device and this technology. And I can't name who they are, but these are some incredible organizations. And they are super excited about Nano and SRT and all the things you can do with it and how it can really make a big difference in their environments. So We put up a video. It's a little primer, quick thing on SRT. So go check that out. We have it playing right now, but of course, go check that out on our YouTube channel and get a little more info. And we have some other videos we've been releasing as well. So check all of those out. And we're going to be cranking out more of those little videos. So for those interested in how-tos and the tech and things like that behind Epiphan products, we're going to be pumping out a lot of that stuff. So that's an upside. Mm-hmm. That's a happy. There you go. Love it.
Thanks, George. All right. See you later, everybody. See you later, George.
Thanks, everyone.